Hello, today I'm going to be making French onion soup. I took about 1.5 pounds of stew beef, cooked it in the crock pot for about 8 hours, just covered it with water, nothing else, poured it through a strainer. This is a fine mesh strainer, okay? And so I'm going to take the beef and I'm going to shred it up a little bit. You actually don't have to do this step, but, if you want to, you can. And then I took 2 packages of red apple Gruyere cheese, okay, and I shredded it, and I used this kind of shredder right here. Okay, you can just use a regular box grater. It doesn't matter. Just shred the cheese. So I broke the meat apart, and I removed the fat and all of that, and I have the broth here. Okay, I have a 3-pound bag of onions. These are Peruvian sweet yellow onions, okay, which is going to be similar to the Vidalia onion. I have a French baguette. I'll be slicing this up and I'll be toasting it. That will be the crouton, okay, that will go on top of the soup. And I have jar garlic. If you want to use fresh garlic, knock yourself out. And this is not mandatory, but I put brandy in mine. It'll be about 1/2 cup, maybe 3/4 cup. I'm just going to do it according to taste. Okay. You can actually get this cheaper. This is a bigger bottle. This was maybe like $7 or something like that. But you can get 2 airplane bottles. The little bottles for like $1.99 each. So that's like $4 if you want to use brandy. You don't have to use brandy. Okay. That's just something that I do. And I have my big 10-quart pot here. Also, I have a package of fresh thyme, but you don't have to use fresh thyme. You can use dried. So this works out to be about 10 medium to large yellow sweet onions. Now you're going to slice them thin. You can use a knife or you can use one of these. And as you can see, you still get a really thin sliced onion. Now this recipe calls for 2 bay leaves. I took a couple of dry bay leaves. I didn't have any fresh. And I broke them up and I put them on one side of the tea ball. And then I took a pinch of this thyme, maybe a tablespoon. I have the fresh. Put it on the other side of the tea ball, and I'm going to close the tea ball. Now, if you don't have a tea ball, you can just put this stuff in the soup, right, and then just fish it out so that people don't have to eat the, hard, crispy things. Or you can tie it up in a piece of cheesecloth, something to that effect. Or you can strain them out, So it's up to you. I just like to use a tea ball because it makes it easy. So there, it's full of my herbs and spices. And it has this little hook, and I'll hang that on the side of the pot when I'm cooking. Now, before we do anything else, we're going to caramelize the onions. 4 tablespoons of oil, 4 tablespoons of butter. Turn it on high and start caramelizing. Okay, so I took the baguette, I cut it, I sliced it. It's maybe 3/4 to 1-inch pieces. Okay, put it on a piece of parchment paper on this big tray. And I'm going to put it in the oven, but first I'm going to brush it with a little bit of butter. So I toasted these a bit on both sides, maybe 5 minutes on one side, 5 minutes on the other, at about 400 degrees. So I added my beef broth that came out of the crock pot, and I've added the meat. Okay, and how much water did I add to the crock pot? Well, it was a really large crock pot. I think it's the Pioneer Woman crock pot. And so this is like a 2-quart, and I used almost all of it. So there was like maybe an inch in the bottom. So that's about how much water, almost 2 quarts. You could use 2 quarts. As a matter of fact, it'd be just fine. Now it's time to bring this to a boil. with some aromatics like this tea ball full of bay leaf and thyme. Okay. And now I'm going to add some garlic. By the way, if you want more of beef broth, you can by all means add some. Okay. You can even add chicken broth if you like. So I'm going to make sure that I have my tea ball, the string hanging on the side of the pot, and my tea ball immersed in the liquid. Really good. Like I said, you don't have to use a tea ball. Then I'm going to replace the lid. I'm going to bring this to a boil. I decided to add the beef broth because I want mine more brothy, but you don't have to do that. So after all this comes to a really good boil, then I'll start adding salt and pepper. I like to wait until the end because flavors change when temperature changes. And of course, I'm going to be eating the soup boiling hot, and so I'm going to season it accordingly. Now I have the broiler on, okay, in the oven, and I've added the croutons. And now I'm going to add some of the shredded Gruyere. Okay, and I'm going to put it in the oven and let the Gruyere melt. And there it is. It's ready to eat. Thank you for watching. If you try the recipe, let me know what you think. Thanks. Have a good day. Bye.